Listen guys, everybody loves a deep fried turkey, but not everybody wants a fire in their backyard. Today I'm showing you how to make a crispy, juicy, deep fried turkey indoors, safely, no propane tanks, no explosions. Just pure flavor and perfect results every time. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right guys, before we even get into the turkey, let's talk about safety tips. First things first, you wanna make sure that your turkey is fully defrosted. You do not wanna deep fry a frozen turkey. So make sure your turkey is defrosted. We also need it to be extra dry. Remember guys, oil and water don't mix, so you don't want a lot of excess moisture going into your deep fryer. Those are the two most critical points. You also want to make sure you remove the giblets, the turkey neck, all of the innards of the turkey. Remove all of that stuff. You can use it for stock, you can use it for your gravy, you can use it for your stuffing, but you do not want to fry it inside your turkey, obviously. All right guys, there's two main pain points when it comes to holiday turkey. You don't want it to be dry and you don't want it to be bland. So what we're gonna do is make an injection that's gonna also make sure that it's flavorful all the way down to the bone and moist. So we're solving two of the main problems. Getting the party started with one whole stick of butter. To that, we're gonna add some chicken broth. We have my buttery garlic pepper seasoning, Cajun seasoning, a little honey, hot sauce, lemon, and chicken bouillon powder. You wanna go ahead and mix all these ingredients together. Then we're gonna strain them, that way our injector doesn't get clogged up, and then let that cool because you do not wanna put hot liquid into a cold turkey. Room temperature is cool though. So we're gonna melt this butter first, and then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. Let me know in the comments if you ever made our deep fried turkey. If you haven't, this recipe is the one to use. You can get these deep fryers from Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, places like that. Super cheap. Back in the day when I first started doing this about 10 years ago, when they first came out, they were much more expensive. Thank God for technology because the prices have come down significantly. So if it's in the budget, I highly suggest them. You can fry other things in it too. Chicken, if you got a big party, a bunch of chicken wings, things like that. So keep that in mind. Once the butter starts to melt, we're going in with 2 cups of chicken broth. We're gonna go in with a little bit of lemon juice, about a half a tablespoon worth, just to add a little brightness, brighten things up a little bit. Chicken bouillon powder is gonna amplify the poultry flavor and give us some MSG, which is a flavor enhancer. And we all know turkey can use all the love that it can get. So plenty of that going in. About a tablespoon or so of honey, just to add a little bit of sweetness to kind of counterbalance a little bit of the Cajun flavor. That's gonna add a little spice along with the hot sauce. Looking to build some flavor here, you just want it to be nice and well rounded. We're gonna add our Cajun seasoning, our buttery garlic pepper, some AP seasoning, and just let this steep for a little bit, let those flavors infuse, because once we strain it, some of this is gonna get left behind. We don't wanna clog our strainer, but we're gonna still have that flavor in the liquid that we're gonna inject the turkey with. So don't be too worried about that. If there's some clumps or some, you can even add some herbs to this. I'm gonna make a garlic butter and herb gravy later, so I'm not adding any herbs to the injection, but you could if you want to. Quick reminder guys, this recipe and all my recipes can be found at MrMakeItHappen.com.
And today's episode is sponsored by one of my favorites, HelloFresh. You guys already know I love HelloFresh because it just makes life easier. Everything you need for dinner shows up right at your door. No grocery store chaos, no wasted ingredients, just fresh, pre-portioned stuff ready to cook. But this time they took it to another level because right now HelloFresh is hooking you up with a free Misen Chef's Knife. That's a $119 value when you sign up and get your third HelloFresh box. If you've never used a Misen knife, trust me, it's razor sharp, made from Japanese steel, and it feels premium. It'll slice right through butternut squash, meats, even turkey bones like butter. Plus, HelloFresh is giving you 10 free meals and free shipping on your first box, so you're saving money and stepping up your kitchen game. With over 100 recipes every week, you can try new ingredients, new cuisines, or just skip that same old dinner rut, and you're cooking with a knife that feels straight out of a pro kitchen. So hit the link in my description or go to HelloFresh.com and use my code MAKEITHAPPEN to get the deal, 10 free meals, free shipping, and a free Misen Chef's Knife with your third box.
Next up, my friends, is time to dry brine and inject. So what you want to do is get some paper towels, good quality paper towels, and really thoroughly dry this turkey. This is about a 12-pound bird. You're going to want to, for the purposes of deep frying, I like something between 12 and 14 pounds. That may not be big enough for your, Thanksgiving if you got a big family, so you may need to do 2 turkeys. Sometimes I'll do a smoked one or one in the oven and a deep fried. But for the purposes of deep frying, I really like a smaller bird. All that being said, you want to make sure it's super dry. Then we're going to inject it, and then I'm going to season the outside with mostly salt, a little bit of AP. There's tons of flavor in this injection, so you don't got to go super crazy on the seasoning, because as this fries for 40 to 50 minutes, a lot of that stuff's going to burn and it's not going to be a great color. So if you want to do just salt, that's probably the best way for presentation. I'm going to add a little bit of AP seasoning too, just to add some extra flavor. But most of the flavor is coming from this delicious injection that we made. It almost tastes like a seafood boil sauce. It's really good. You guys got to try this recipe. All right, so we're going into the drums. Get the turkey a little BBL. You want to like pull out as you're injecting. That way it reaches, you know, more surface area. And try not to get it all over the place because we just dried it. Inevitably, you're going to get a little bit of moisture on there, but you can just, you know, wipe that off too. The goal here is to just properly inject the bird as consistently as possible. Make sure you hit them thighs too. Make sure the thighs match. Lift that drum up and get in the thigh a little bit more on the bottom side. Gonna hit the wings too. A lot of people say you don't have to, but why the hell not? All right, after the injection, we're gonna use some paper towels to dry up any additional moisture, and then we're gonna hit this with a generous amount of salt. I like to do this at least a few hours before it's time to cook, preferably overnight if you have the time. When it sits in the refrigerator, you want it to sit in there uncovered. That way air can circulate around it, and that is gonna cause the skin to dry out a little bit. And you want dry skin. You don't want dry turkey. You want the meat to have flavor and moisture, but you want the skin to be dry, because dry skin is going to be crispy skin. So ideally we want to have nice crispy skin at the end of this and some juicy flavorful protein. So just adequately salt it, get all over it. Not so much on the bottom side, because when you fry a turkey you don't really eat the back too much, but totally up to you. Try to get inside the cavity a bit as well. And I'm going to hit it with a little bit of AP seasoning. Now the next critical step when it comes to safety precautions is making sure that your deep fryer is on a flat surface, away from any children or commotion or high traffic areas. You want to put it on like a counter, maybe even the floor. You know, you'll know what's best at your house, but you want to make sure that it's flat, even, leveled, nothing that's going to tip over, no babies are going to pull on the cord, anything like that. Once you achieve that, your turkey's nice and dry. Hopefully you let it brine in the refrigerator for 24 hours if you have the time. And then it's time to drop it in the deep fryer. You want to fry it for about 3 to 4 minutes per pound. This is a 11 and a half pound turkey. We're going for about 45, 46 minutes. The breast should be 160 to 165 and the dark meat should be 175. All right, people, now it is time to gently place your bird into the basket. Perfect size. One other pro tip is to allow the basket to sit in the oil a little bit before you drop it. That way the skin doesn't stick to it. And then you want to very slowly drop the turkey into the oil. So after about 40 to 45 minutes in the hot tub, the turkey is perfectly done. It's looking beautiful. One of the most important steps to cooking a fried turkey or any large piece of protein is after it's done cooking, you want to allow it to rest. Something as big as a whole turkey, you want to give it a good 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes of resting time. Let those juices really redistribute. That's the perfect time for us to go ahead and knock out this sauce or gravy, whatever you want to call it. We're doing a butter, garlic, and herb gravy. For that, we need the herbs, right? The kind you cook with, not the kind that cook you. We got sage, we got rosemary, we got thyme. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a rough chop. Get all of the herbs mixed together and incorporated. We're going to cook that down with the butter, the garlic, my seasoned flour to make a roux. All right, people, once the butter is melted, we got 1 stick of butter in there, fully melted. We're going in with about a tablespoon or so of garlic, whatever's left in my tube here. You can use fresh, you can use jarred, you can use the paste. Just get some garlic flavor in there. It pairs nice with poultry. Then we're going to go ahead and add in a little buttery garlic pepper seasoning, along with my Cajun seasoning. Get those herbs in there. Some of my seasoned flour to make the most delicious gravy you've ever had. But if you don't have that, you can just use regular flour. You're gonna have to go a little bit heavier on the seasonings if you do that. Give that a good mix. A few tablespoons of flour. Then we're just gonna whisk that flour into the melted butter, effectively making a roux. Already we got an absolutely beautiful color here. And then we're going in with a couple cups of chicken broth. If you got some homemade turkey stock, that'd be even better. Do some. Once you get your chicken broth in there, you want to increase the heat. Get this up to a boil. Once it reaches a boil, you'll notice that everything thickens up. That flour starts to work its way in to the liquid. It'll thicken up nicely. You'll have like a gravy consistency. I like to finish with just a splash of heavy cream and a little lemon juice or lemon zest just to brighten things up. And this is going to be so damn good on that fried turkey. Fried chicken too, if you got that. And to finish things off, just a little splash of heavy cream. Literally just a couple tablespoons, all you need. I'm going to turn the heat down, whisk everything together. Taste as you go, adjust the flavor to your preference. You can make it as spicy as you want with that Chipotle Tabasco, which is my favorite hot sauce on the market right now. But you know, you can adjust the flavor how you want to with this. You do want to taste it though. If you need to add a pinch more salt, you can. But if you're using my seasoned flour in these products, this recipe, you're not going to really need to season it much. But that is the color that we're looking for. A beautiful color is going to pair nicely with that nice dark brown fried turkey. All right, guys, after you allow the turkey to rest 15 to 30 minutes, it's time to carve it up. When I carve my turkey, I want a nice sharp knife, very sharp, sharper the better. You can use a jagged edge or a bread knife or a super sharp carving knife. Carve off the rest of the turkey. We're gonna plate this up just like this. Get a little extra crispy skin in there. One other thing, it is not illegal to finish your turkey with a little finishing salt or a little seasoning after it's done, because even though we did adequately inject it, it is a large piece of meat. So you wanna make sure that you adequately seasoned it, right? So just a little finishing salt or finishing AP, just to make sure your guests get the perfect bite every time. And then we're gonna top it off with that gravy and get us a taste test. Now, my friends, it's finally time for the moment of truth. I am super hungry. I've been waiting on this all day. Make sure you guys go to MrMakeItHappen.com for all of these recipes. I got you covered all holiday season long. Without further ado, it's time to get in there for the taste test. Crispy skin. The gravy. Don't get better than that.